So, Your Excellency, Minister Lawrence Wang, Your Excellency, Minister Sathasivan Subramaniam, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. President, for this introduction, and thank you to Global Initiative and the Marina Bay Sands for working the sustainability talk, for making the Responsible Business Forum the first zero waste, zero emission conference of this scale. Okay, and so we hope to learn from this experience and apply this practice in future UNDP meetings. Okay, and I'm very pleased to be here at this pivotal moment for Asia, Pacific, and the world. I'm very impressed by the statement that Minister Wang made, in which he eloquently stated the state of affairs, when it comes to sustainable business. Okay. It is 1 year since every country in the world signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals. It is 1 year after the start of the implementation of the Agenda 2030. So these Sustainable Development Goals form a blueprint for addressing the most significant challenges facing our planet and its people. Challenges like climate change. Right? This year is like to be the hottest year on record here in Asia. Right? Climate change is a cause of the natural disaster that have claimed 500,000 lives in the last decade. And we know 95% of the casualties happen in developing countries. Yeah. Challenges like inequality, which has been growing for 4/5 of Asia Pacific's population over the last 20 years, despite phenomenal growth. Challenges brought on by the accelerating process of aging, which will make it harder for many Asian states to provide basic services to their people. As we know, developed countries age when they have accumulated wealth, and many developing countries in Asia-Pacific age before they accumulated the wealth. Right? So the 17 SDGs will address these challenges by working together, right? And other interlinked issues, including education, hunger, and security. But the governments cannot implement this blueprint on their own, nor can the UN and other development organizations. Right? As Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said in his statement to you yesterday, we need you. Right? So I hope you have seen his statement, his address to this conference. But in short, his message is that we need the businesses to be in this together. Okay? So think of the power you represent. Right? We won't fight global warming by reminding people to turn off the lights when they go out. Right. But we will if business incorporate the sustainable use of water and the power in the process of production. Right. We won't feed the people, the world's hungry with charitable distribution of rice, but we will with improved agricultural techniques and boost trade. We won't achieve great equal rights and a decent education for girls just by building schools. And not unless we also build economies that give parents the means to put their children into these schools. Right? Right. In developing countries, business account for 60% of GDP and 90% of the jobs. Okay? So the kind of change envisaged by the SDGs can only be achieved with the input of the private sector. But what do we hope to achieve here today and tomorrow, right? So this is the continuation of the movement that have started, right, for the last few years, right? By connecting business and the governments, we can create a policy environment that unleashes the potential of the private sector. Right? When governments understand the needs of business and the business understands the development priorities of governments, right, everyone stands to benefit. Right? We are already seeing examples of such collaboration. Right? Just yesterday, the ING Bank, the Credit Suisse, FMO, the Dutch Development Bank, and other partners together launched in this venue an innovative, sustainable finance collective Asia, right, to connect financing with projects that conform to social and environmental standards. Right? And what does the UNDP bring to the table? Right? And we have 50 years of development experience in Asia Pacific and around the world. Okay? We can bring our comparative advantages to bear. We have 36 countries in which we work together. We have great partnership with our governments. Okay? We have 25 offices across the region. Right? We connect the governments and the business and provide forums like this in partnership with a broad-based set of partners. Right? And we can promote innovative ideas. And we can help governments design the policies required for business to flourish, and we can help business move beyond the corporate social responsibility to make sustainable development a core part of their operating model. Right? At the policy level, for example, we have produced the 2016 Regional Human Development Report, right, that introduced the 9 actions for sustainable development in Asia Pacific to help governments capitalize on demographic trends to spur development. Right, with the Baosang Bank of China, right, we're going to launch an initiative called Youth 2030, a regional network of youth leaders, right, and the business incubators to support innovation and entrepreneurship and to create jobs, right, for young people across Asia Pacific. We have established in UNDP, right, the UN Social Innovation, the Social Impact Fund, a blended financing a platform to promote social impact investing and investments in SDG implementation in Asia Pacific. Right? This fund will be ready to receive proposals next year, thanks to a partnership with the Haifu International Finance Company based in Hong Kong. Right? And I was asked often, why does UNDP work on social impacting when where there are so many other entities that are already doing this? My answer is very simple. Right? We have to try to experiment and to test the boundaries of what we can do so that we can be a credible partner at the table with our private sector partners. So, and let me give you an example from where we are here right now. Okay, we are in Singapore, right? And we see the success this country has demonstrated. But in 1996, right, UNDP was part of this effort that started this journey of development. The government of Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew received a team of advisors led by Dr. Albert Weismuth from what later became UNDP. Right? The team delivered a roadmap together in consultation with the government, Singapore's development with innovative ideas in areas such as engineering, education, tourism, retail, financial services, and container shipping. Right? It shaped Singapore's economic and industrial development as well as its public administration. Right? The years of collaboration paid off. You will have seen the results on the way to this meeting. Right? Now we have to do for the world what we did in Singapore. The question is that with the changing world, right, with ODA, traditional official development assistance, declining in proportion significantly, do we have the ambition? Can we have the ability to deliver on the same level of support we provided to Singapore, right, to other developing countries? Right? So we have accumulated a great experience. We have the resources and the network, right, and this region is already blazing a trail. Right, in 2000, the Asia Pacific region accounted for less than 30% of world's GDP, right, at the start of the Millennium Development Goals campaign. Okay, by 2014, right, it was 40%. Right? So the growth of Asia is simply phenomenal. Right? So the number of people living in poverty, right, and have dropped from over 1 billion in 2000 to around 300 million today, right, in Asia Pacific. Right? But to sustain this momentum and achieve impact on the scale needed to achieve the SDGs, we must engage in more companies around the world, right? We must continue to advocate for behavior change, right? And we must change the way we produce and consume, right? We need to spread the word that responsible business is not only a force for good, but it is a force for good bottom line. Recently, I met CEO of Thirst, a small NGO based in China. Right? It is run by Mina Guli, Australian, right? Who made herself famous by running multiple marathons, right, to promote the awareness about water shortage. Right? She told me that the water used to make a cotton suit that we wear and a pair of leather shoes, right, is more than the water one person needs to drink in their entire life. Okay, right. So we cannot wait for a lifetime, right? Just like Premier Lee Kuan Yew and the advisor Albert Wismus, we have to start planning for the long haul, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, achieving SDGs is a great ambition. Okay, the scale of challenge makes me humble. Okay. And I imagine this is how Albert Wismus felt in 1960, okay, right? But look at what we have achieved together, right? And look at the other examples of success where we were also associated with, right? The Republic of Korea, which I visited last week, which celebrated its 50th anniversary of collaboration with the UNDP, right? We look at the example of Thailand, where we actually were associated with the development of the tourism industry, right, in early days, okay. And look at other countries in Asia Pacific, right, that have transformed, right. I'm very happy that we have the Minister of Malaysia, right, with us today. Our relationship with Malaysia is also an example of transformation, right, from where we were a donor, a source of funding, to a partner where we're held accountable by the government to deliver value-adding services. Right? Right. So, and also, I'm optimistic, given, despite the challenges. And I always say that I'm an optimistic realist. Right? We're ready to continue to support your effort, right? Collective effort, right? To end the poverty in all its forms and set Asia Pacific on the path to sustainable development. So I take this opportunity to thank you all, for participating in this event. And I look forward to having constructive discussions with you over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.